Good morning. Let us take a moment to establish a Mahayana motivation, a motivation of bodhicitta, the mind of awakening. We can contemplate how, since beginningless time, we have been driven by our mental afflictions, constantly accumulating karma. These afflictions and karmas propel us from life to life without any control. We're constantly taking rebirth, constantly experiencing the results of the actions we accumulate, sometimes pleasant experiences, sometimes unpleasant experiences. We cannot choose whatever karmic imprints are there in our mental continuum will eventually ripen unless we purify. At the moment we are fortunate, we are born human, but still we can see that some of our experiences are unpleasant. We can see around us many other beings are having unpleasant experiences. For example, people who are sick, people who are living in a country that is at war, people who have conflicts in their families, workplaces, and so forth. You can also look at the life of animals. Their suffering is quite gross, quite obvious. You can think, for example, of the animals that are the animals that are raised for us as humans to later eat. You can think of their suffering. So many of them living in small places, in the fear of being sent to the slaughterhouse. And of course, we can imagine what it must be like in the other lower realms of hungry ghosts, hell realms. So try to generate a sense. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering, the afflictions and the karma. And try to extend that wish. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. I myself will do whatever I can in order to free all my dear mother sentient beings from suffering and its causes. I have this precious human rebirth now with freedoms, richnesses. I have capacity. I have the fortune to study the teachings of the Buddha, to contemplate and to meditate on them in order to transform my mind, to become a Buddha, to achieve the state of full awakening, omniscience, to be able to guide sentient beings perfectly. May I become a Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. So with this thought in mind, with this bodhicitta motivation, we will engage in those practices, this meditation this morning. We will start with 5 minutes of calm abiding, single-pointed concentration. So I'll just quickly remind you of the essential instructions. The first one is to look at your body posture, ideally sitting in the 7 points posture of Buddha Vairochana. The most important point is for your body to be upright, for your back to be straight, not leaning towards a support or leaning forward. Ideally, your eyes also should not be closed, gazing 1 or 2 meters in front of you. The eyes are just naturally resting without being completely closed, but not paying attention to what your eyes are apprehending. It is a mental consciousness that meditates. And the object of your mental consciousness, this is the second point, the second instruction. The focal point, the object of focus. So you can use any object you are familiar with for Shamatha meditation. And if you are new to this, you can visualize a small dot of white light between your nose and your upper lip. Very small, about 1 or 2 millimeters in diameter. And place all your attention on this tiny dot. Along with that, you can also count your cycles of breathing. Breathing in, breathing out, counting 1, breathing in, breathing out, counting 2, and so on and so forth. And try to do that single-pointedly for the whole duration of the meditation. The third instruction is to identify the errors that come during meditation. The mind will be distracted, either with excitement, for example, thinking about the past and the future, or with laxity, dullness. The mind will be sinking, falling asleep, kind of. And the fourth instruction is to apply the remedies to these errors of meditation. So the first one being introspection, having a part of your mind constantly checking, am I meditating? Am I focused on my focal point? If not, if I notice that my mind has wandered, I make the effort, not wasting time staying in the thoughts or in the in the laxity. I make the effort to bring my mind back as soon as I notice, to bring my mind back onto the object with mindfulness, so that I don't forget my object anymore. Try to remain on the object for the duration of the meditation. And I make the effort to notice every time the mind wanders. And as soon as I notice, I bring it back to the object. So we will do this for a few minutes. Gently come out of the meditation. Now that we are hopefully a little bit more concentrated, we will engage in the analytical Lamrim meditation. Before we do that, we will try to prepare our minds with a quick practice of purification and accumulation of merit, positive potential for our minds to realize the points we are meditating on. So we can try to reinforce the bodhicitta motivation that we have generated at the beginning of the session and visualize in front of us Guru Shakyamuni Buddha and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, as well as your teachers, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, all of them in front of you, looking at you with great love and joy. Surrounding you are numberless sentient beings, starting with your mother of this life on your left and father of this life on your right. All sentient beings are surrounding you and you are guiding them into these practices today. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sangye Chudan Soki Chonam La Jonshu Bado Dagne Gyapso Ichi Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknam Ki Jola Penjir Sangye Jupara Jo Sangye Chudan Soki Chonam La Jonshu Bado Dagne Gyapso Ichi Dagi Jinso Gibe Tsoknam Ki Jola Penjir Sangye Jupara Jo. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. So here we will read the 7-limb prayer, engage in the 7 branches of practice. So we can try to contemplate the meaning of each of the lines while we read them, and in particular we will stop for a few seconds after reading the 4th line so we can meditate on rejoicing. Reverently I prostrate with my body, speech and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. So we can take a moment to rejoice in all the positive actions, all the merit accumulated by other beings, holy and ordinary beings. So we can start with, for example, thinking about all the deeds that Buddha Shakyamuni performed. You can think of all the holy actions that His Holiness the Dalai Lama is engaging in, tirelessly benefiting others, tirelessly teaching the Dharma. Rejoice in all the holy actions of your teachers, all the merit that is accumulated constantly by the monastics, living in the vows, engaging in activities of study, contemplation, meditation, offering service, doing retreat, and so on and so forth. Can rejoice in the merit accumulated by all your fellow Dharma practitioners, lay Dharma practitioners. Can rejoice in the positive actions done by your friends, families, as well as all the good actions that yourself are doing. And then we carry on with the 5th branch. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of all others to the great enlightenment. So next we will read the Foundation of All Good Qualities, which is a short Lamrim prayer composed by Lama Tsongkhapa, in order to quickly bring to mind all the essential points of the Lamrim before we meditate on one point in particular, and also in order to request our gurus to bless our minds so that we may very quickly realize all these points of the Lamrim. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect pure Guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativities and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Seeking samsaric pleasures is the door to all suffering. They are uncertain and cannot be relied upon. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate the strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teachings is keeping the pratimoksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother migratory beings. Please bless me to see this, train in supreme bodhicitta, and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop only bodhicitta, but I don't practice the 3 types of morality, I will not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of calm abiding and special insight. Having become a pure vessel by training in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the Fortunate Ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the 2 attainments is keeping pure vows in Samaya. As I have become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the 2 stages, the essence of the Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who show the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it have long lives. Please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all my lives, never separated from perfect Gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma. By completing the qualities of the stages and the path, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. So, until now, over the past 5 or 6 weeks, we have been contemplating the first chapters of the graduated path to enlightenment, the Lamrim. We saw the importance of relying on a spiritual friend, a teacher, to guide us. Just like when we want to learn piano, we need to rely on a teacher. We want to learn how to drive a car, we need someone to explain it to us. If we want to transform our minds, we need the unmistaken instructions of a qualified, virtuous teacher. We have been born as a human with many freedoms and endowments. We have all our mental, physical capacity, and importantly, we have been born at the time of the Buddha, where the Buddha has appeared, the Buddha has taught, the teachings are widely available, there are followers, and there are supporters, sponsors, people who help followers of the Buddha. We are so fortunate. This gives us the opportunity to transform our minds, put an end to our suffering. It also gives us the opportunity to become Buddhas in order to help all sentient beings to do the same work on their minds. However, this opportunity might come, might end at any time. Death is inevitable. We will definitely pass away. And death is around the corner. We don't have any clue when exactly we will pass away. We could pass away even today. At the time of death, whatever worldly accumulation we have done will not help us. Our friends, relatives cannot help us. Our possessions cannot help us. When we pass away, only our mind is going from this life to the next. Therefore, only whatever transformation we have done with our mind will carry on to the next life. So it is important to make the resolve to take the opportunity of this life before it ends, to transform our minds as much as possible, to accumulate virtue, to try and realize renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom of emptiness, that will benefit our minds greatly. When we pass away, a karma that we have generated in the past will ripen and propel us into the next life. We have very little control to know which one of these karmas will ripen. It is quite likely that a negative karma will ripen and propel us into a lower rebirth as an animal, a hungry ghost, or a hell realm being. We have contemplated the sufferings in those different realms, and we have seen that the three objects of refuge, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, can protect us from these lower realms. By studying the teachings of the Buddha, engaging in the practice of the Dharma, supported by the Sangha, we will apply the Buddha's instructions. Here specifically engaging in virtue and not engaging in non-virtuous actions, therefore not creating causes for lower rebirths, creating causes for higher rebirths. The Dharma also has the power to eliminate all our negative karmas accumulated in the past, to purify them. More than that, the Dharma allows us to purify, eliminate our mental afflictions and obscurations, to achieve more ultimate goals of liberation and full awakening. So we will today summarize the points we have contemplated when it comes to the law of karma, the law of cause and effect. The first point it has, the first point is that there are four general characteristics of karma. The first one is that karma is definite. Definitely non-virtuous actions will bring about a suffering result, and virtuous actions will bring about pleasant experience. Karma increases, it multiplies. Even a small action can bring immense results. Just like a small seed can bring a huge tree bearing many flowers and fruits. We do not experience the results of actions we have not created. And actions that we do not disappear unless we purify them. Positive actions also can be annihilated by moments of anger if they are not dedicated properly. And we have seen, Kabirji has explained the last few weeks, and we have contemplated in the morning the 10 non-virtuous actions to abandon, to avoid performing. We have 3 of body: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct. We have 4 of speech: lying, divisive speech, harsh speech, and idle gossip. And 3 non-virtuous actions of mind: covetousness, malice, and wrong views. We have also identified 10 virtuous actions to be adopted that are the opposite of these 10 non-virtuous actions. So we should engage in the opposite of killing, for example, actively refraining from killing, protecting lives. For example, if we go to the washroom and we notice there is an insect in our sink, we can have the intention not to kill it, but to protect his life by, for example, taking a tissue and gently moving the insect away from the sink so that when we turn on the water, it doesn't get drained down. We have seen how actions we accumulate brings about results. There are different factors that make our actions, virtuous and non-virtuous actions, more weighty. One is the nature of the action. For example, killing is the heaviest action we can engage in with the body. Second is the attitude, the strength of the mental affliction that is present at the moment of engaging in the action. Then is the performance. For example, if we inflict a lot of suffering to someone we are killing, then the action will be more heavy. Then there is the basis, the actions that are done with regards to your parents, your gurus, your teachers, or the three jewels are more heavy. Then there is the habit, the frequency and continuity of engaging in those actions, and the absence of an antidote. If one does no virtue, then non-virtue becomes more heavy. So we have seen for the 10 non-virtues how each of them ripen in 4 different ways. First is the fruitional result. The full path of karma has the power to propel us to, if it is a negative karma, to a lower rebirth. If it is positive karma, to a higher rebirth. And there are results similar to the cause. For example, as a result of killing, we will have a short life. As a result of stealing, we'll have a lack of resources, and so on and so forth. Then there is also the habit. We will be reborn with the habit, to the tendency to commit these actions again and again. karma also ripens in our environment. For example, due to killing in the past, then food, drink, and medicine have very little power. Due to engaging in sexual misconduct in the past, our environment can be filthy or bad smelling. But of course, it is the same with virtuous actions. They bring about a good rebirth, good experiences in life. For example, a long life if we engage in refraining from killing and preserving life, with good habits, tendency to create these positive actions again in a good environment. For example, when we refrain from killing, then food, drink, and medicine will have great power, and so on and so forth. And finally, to conclude the chapter of karma, we have seen that negative karma can be purified with the 4 opponent powers. There is the power of regret, the power of reliance or the power of refuge, the power of remedy, meaning to apply antidotes. For example, there are 6 antidotes that are recommended in the Lamrim, such as reciting sutras, meditating on emptiness, reciting mantras, for example, the Vajrasattva 100-syllable mantra, making Buddha images, making offerings to holy objects, and reciting names of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And the 4th opponent power is the power of resolution, to make a strong determination to refrain from committing negative actions again in the future. So to conclude our meditations on karma, we can generate a strong determination to live our lives in such a way that we create vast amounts of virtuous karma as much as possible, and to live our lives in such a way that we refrain from non-virtuous karma as much as possible, and to also engage in purification practices for whatever non-virtuous karmas we have accumulated in this life and previous lives, in order to avoid suffering in the future. So we can take a short moment to generate this conclusion in our mind. And then we will dedicate the merits. The merits we have accumulated in this session, the merits we have accumulated in the past, the merits we will accumulate in the future. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the Supreme Jewel Bodhicitta, that has not arisen, arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase forevermore. And also dedicate our merits so that our teachers, such as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, have long and healthy lives, so that they continue to guide us, they continue to teach us the holy Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni. And also dedicate so that our spiritual director, Kyabje Thupten Zopa Rinpoche, so that we might quickly find his unmistaken reincarnation, so that he may continue to guide us and lead the organization. Can also dedicate the merits so that there may be no wars, no famines, no epidemics, no natural disasters, so that peace and harmony might prevail. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a beautiful day.